What is up, everyone? Renfail here, and welcome back for another EverQuest 2 guide. Today we are diving into the crafting tutorial, and while I will of course have my own things to say about crafting in general, the tutorial here in the Frostfang Sea is an important part of my completed walkthrough series that I'm doing here on YouTube. So I've been documenting the entire Frostfang Sea leveling process from start to finish. If this continues to do well, I might go ahead and do one for Kelethin, for the Dark Moon Fair, and so on and so forth. So if you like this series, make sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that bell icon so you get more of all the things that I do, plus announcements about when the next episode in my EQ2 series goes live. I don't do these as frequently as I do like Star Wars: The Old Republic and Lord of the Rings Online, but I still try to get out like an episode every week or so as we go through and do these EQ2 game guides. Anyway, so today we're going to be diving into the crafting system. Let me go ahead and get comfortable here. I just had lunch. Chris made chicken sandwiches, so I am fed. I don't have another more coffee. I'll get more coffee later. So in the meantime, I'm going to shut the camera off and we're going to dive into the actual tutorial part of this as I talk you guys through everything. So without further ado, let me just cue the camera here like so. And we're gonna do this. Yeah. So we got this quest here called If I Had a Hammer, I Should Find the Traditional Trade Skill Tutor in the City to learn more about crafting. Well, we got this guy right in front of us, so hail away. And immediately we dinged. Let me move this screen over so I can see here. Okay. I spoke to the trade skill tutor to learn more about starting a career in crafting. I was also given a handbook of the Ravens of the North, which is another item that's going into our inventory, and it's going to be used for housing. Now, I have not dug in to the housing video yet, so you're going to want to stay tuned for all of that. So that went up over in here. We're going to move that over here. Notice we have a nice collection of items ready for us when we move into our first home, which is soon. That'll be one of the upcoming videos. Glenn Hammerhelm says, you've learned how to gather harvests, and whether or not you decide to learn a trade skill profession, you'll find harvesting can be a useful and profitable pastime. Are you interested in a review on the crafting process? And we're going to say, yes, please, sir. Alright, let's learn about the crafting process itself. You'll need to have some harvested elm, tin, and roots in your bag. Should I tell you more about the crafting stations and your trade skill arts, or do you just want to get going? So this is a very important part of this whole tutorial series. As I told everybody in the very first episode, also in the 5 tips for newbies episode, always be harvesting. Even if you're not going to be a crafter, you can sell these things on the broker. On a legacy server like Antonia Bale, tier 1 resources are not that common because not that many people are playing through the new content on really old servers. So tier 1 content is actually worth quite a bit, so it's an easy way to get yourself going with a little bit of coin. But also, if you decide to hold on to it, this is where it comes in handy, because these initial crafting quests are going to have you burn through resources, and then to get beyond that, if you want to keep leveling up, you're going to need even more resources. So, without further ado, he asked, do we want to know more about the crafting stations and your trade skill arts, or do you want to just get going? And we're going to say, yeah, I got elf, I got tin, I got roots, check, and I'd like to learn more before I start, please. Alright. There's a number of crafting stations that can be used to make different items. For example, you would use a forge to make metal armor and a chemistry table to make potions. The other crafting stations are the sewing table, the woodworking table, the sage's engraved desk, the stove and keg, and the jeweler's workbench. And what skills would I need to use those machines, sir? Each of the 9 trade skill professions has its own 6 trade skill arts, and there are also a couple of special arts that are used for recipes not related to one trade skill or another, or to any speciality. The appropriate arts will appear as buttons at the bottom of the crafting window when you start to make an item. That's an oversimplification of the complexity that could come with the trade skill arts, is what they're calling them. But these are essentially the abilities that you use during the crafting process. Similar to you have abilities that you use during the adventuring process when you're killing a mob. You have abilities when you are crafting an item, or quote unquote, you're in that same sort of combat stance with an item. So the next answer here, so I need to use those trade skill arts while crafting? Yes, you do. He says if you mouse over or examine the arts, I need to do his voice. If you mouse over or examine the arts in your book, you should see what each of them do. 3 add more progress, 3 add more durability. When you're crafting, you'll want to be sure you know which ones add progress and which ones add durability. If you're having trouble maintaining durability, use all of your ability arts all the time. Or speed up the process and use the progress arts non-stop. Okay, so one is for quality and one is for progress. Again, an oversimplification of what actually happens, because he only mentions using one, but there's actually a time. There's like what we call pulses, and you'll see those when we get into the actual crafting process. There's basically 3 pulses in each tick, and during a tick you can use up to 3 abilities or 3 of your trade skill arts before it ticks over and goes to the next tick. You'll see what I mean, because every tick the progress will go up and down, or the quality will go up and down, and whatever happens in the interim is what determines the outcome of that tick. More or less. There's some RNG in there as well. The first step in crafting anything is the recipe, which you select determines what you create. Open your recipe book from the main menu or press N to see yours. If you are new to crafting, it'll be empty, but as you gain more recipes, there'll be more listed there, so you can use the search box at the top of this window to easily find the recipe names. You can also create custom filters using the edit button. Okay, and after I find a recipe, that's in this window, you select the name of the recipe you wish to use and then click create. One of the downsides to the EverQuest 2 tutorial is they're not actually showing you any of the UI elements while they're talking to you. So they're just like, yeah, this is the one that goes to this window, this is the one that goes to this window, this is the one that goes to this window. So it's not a very, it's not a visual tutorial. It's a written tutorial that you have to sort of either write down or take screenshots of, or just hopefully have a really good memory. It says you need to be near a crafting station of the appropriate type. If you click on the crafting station directly, a recipe book will automatically filter to show you only the recipes you can use at that station. Once you click create, you're going to move to a resource window which shows you all the ingredients the recipe requires, and if you have those, you can click begin and the crafting begins. So it says I think I'm ready to try it. It's like, why don't you make a candelabra? Candelabra? No. I'd like you to make a candelabra for practice. While you craft it, I'd like you to pay attention to the blue and green bars in the middle area. This shows you the progress and the durability of the item you're creating. The goal is to increase your progress without losing too much durability. To create the item, you need to fill all 4 blue progress bars. If you lose at least 1 bar of durability, you'll not be able to do this unless you can regain the durability again. It's safer to keep the durability up near maximum just in case of unexpected critical failures. So how do I stop losing durability? Okay. Well, here's where he explains the ticks a little bit. That's where reaction arts I mentioned come in. You can use these to progress blue, which is add progress, or durability, green, which is directly the durability of the item. Mouse click on these or press 1 through 6 on your keyboard. You can use these skills proactively throughout crafting to influence the outcome. For example, use skills that add durability if your durability is dropping. Every 4 seconds a crafting round completes, and you'll see numbers indicating your overall progress or durability loss or gain for that round above the station. This is generally easier to see in third-person view, so make sure you use your mouse wheel to scroll out. Alright, sounds like it might be easier for me just to try. Alright, he's told me a little bit about the crafting process and asked me to make a simple candelabra for practice. So, the first thing I'm going to get in my inventory is he put a piece of coal, some other stuff. Here's the one that's most important, the recipe book. Make sure you right click on that and scribe. That's a very important component because that's going to add, if we examine this, all of these recipes from Artisan Essentials Volume 1. You have to add these to your journal, your recipe book essentially, so that you can then use these. And when you're low level, you're going to get access to all sorts of different things because you're not specialized yet. So you'll be able to make abilities, you'll be able to craft different wooden weapons, you can do steel weapons, you can upgrade all the different types of abilities, low level abilities. You can do heals, spell scrolls, make metal weapons. You can do leather armor, cloth armor, a little bit of plate armor. All those low-level recipes you can do, as well as things like a candelabra, which is a housing item, which we have been asked to craft. So, without further ado, I'm going to right-click on that, and we're going to click Scribe. And you'll now notice in the bottom left, all of those recipes have been put in my recipe book, and it is a lot. Now, every single time you ding, when you're low level, he's going to give you an additional book, which takes you through the lower levels up to level 10. After that, you've got to buy the books off of the NPCs that are here at the crafting hall, so bear that in mind. Your first 10 levels are free. Once you start to specialize, you do have to buy your books. Specialty books drop in the wild, usually, off of mobs and stuff, so pay attention to that kind of stuff. But in the meantime, yeah, let's go ahead and... here's a recipe book. It's in fuel. Scribe the recipe book by finding it in your inventory and right-clicking it. Check that you have some tin, and roots in your bag and head to the forge. Click on the list. Click on the forge to bring up your list. Select the recipe for some kind of item. So we need to find a forge, which I think there's one directly over here, right? Is this a forge? Indeed. So, hey everyone, Renfail here with the commercial part of the video where I say, hey, if you like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. And thanks to all of our supporters here on YouTube and over on Patreon, our highest members, our guild champions, Crazy Relative, Remy D here on YouTube. And don't forget, if you want to support, it's really easy. You can do the memberships below, the Adventurers Guild, 3 different tiers. There's also the super thanks on any uploaded video or YouTube short that you find. There's also, of course, the super chats and stickers that you could do on any live stream or premiere, and the Patreon page if you want to dive into the fantasy world that I have with my brother and my wife, which is a tabletop game, a point-and-click adventure game, and a fantasy book series. All are great ways to keep this channel going and me going full-time. Thanks again for those of you who support. Let's get back to the video that you're watching now. So I can open it up directly, and these are all the recipes that I can make. Now, if I back away from here and hit N, I would have a lot more than just those recipes because it's showing me all of the recipes in my recipe book. So if you click N, as in nobody, no nonsense, that opens up the recipe window. There's actually a weird bug going on in this earlier. They said they're patching a hotfix in where so apparently sometimes when you go directly to a device, it shows up the wrong recipes, and they just tell you to back out and open it up this way. I haven't seen that issue yet, but since we're actively crafting today, we might. But this opens and it shows us the things I could make at this station, so it looks like it's working here at least. I need to create a simple candelabra, so I would click on the candelabra recipe, and it would immediately pop up. Well, not. I guess let me try that again. Candelabra, click. Okay. The first, my mouse double clicked. The first recipe you would see is this pristine simple candelabra, and it's going to show you the primary component that you need and the other components that you would need. Now, if you have them in your inventory, those are going to be green, and it'll say, you know, whatever number it is. If they're red, it's because you don't have those in your inventory. So I could click change if I needed to change that to something else, but I have, 65 tin clusters, so we're good. How many elm do I have? I have 112 elm. Totally good there. How many roots? 110 roots. Remember what I told you guys about harvesting in the very early days of the game? This is why. The coal I'll have to buy off of the broker, but not for these basic recipes they give you the fuel. But eventually we will need to buy our own fuel. Alright, so we're going to click begin, and it will start the process. Now immediately you're going to notice the round system, or what I call is the tick system. Every few seconds a round is going to pass. During that round you have time to do 3 abilities proactively. Now basically, they're grouped into 2 sets. So like 1, 2, 3 on the keyboard, I believe is... I'll wait until the window opens, but you'll see what I mean here in a minute. 1, 2, 3 represent like progress, and 4, 5, 6 equal durability. I think we'll double check that when we get in. So don't hold me to that until we actually see it. But I'm going to click begin, and up pops this window. So it looks like 1, that's a quality. So 1, 2, 3 are quality, 4, 5, 6 are progress. So it just did a tick. So and it's going to do a tick again here in right there. And I lost. Let's do another tick. Boom. Now, if I want to influence it, I could use 3 abilities. Now. And then I wait. The tick happens. 1, 2, 3. The tick happens. 1, 2, 3. Notice the durability is going up because we're proactively using our abilities. 1, 2, 3. And if you misuse them or you don't counter something, you'll see what I mean when we get deeper into it. There are complications that arise, and if you don't counter them with the proper ability, it can have a bad effect on your crafting. It used to be in the early days of the game when it first launched, you could literally take damage from the crafting machines and you could die. People actually died like AFK crafting because they weren't there to counter the complications, and it killed their character. So the crafting system used to be really brutal in this game. Anyway, let's turn in here. Alright, we dinged. I'm not going to do a voice for him anymore because that's a that's a nightmare on the throat. Moving on to the next lesson, you should be aware that there are some hazards associated with crafting. Back in the old days, oh, I'm a little ahead of it because they talk about, he says, back in the old days, it wasn't unusual to see piles of injured bodies beside the forge, which is so true. We've managed to build slightly less dangerous forges since then, but no matter what craft you choose, there are still dangers to counter. And this is where he talks about the complications that arise. During the crafting process, you'll sometimes see a warning area appear in the upper area below the 4 progress bar, so we'll go watch that in action. You can correct these problems by clicking the correct ability to counter it. Successfully doing so avoids the bad thing occurring, such as loss of progress or durability, and usually result in something unusually good thing happening, like a progress or durability gain, a skill bonus, or even the discovery of a rare harvest. We obviously didn't see that during the candelabra process because we were actually doing a different quest. So my quest reward says I get Basic Coal and Artisan Essentials Volume 2, so don't forget to open up your inventory and scribe that second recipe book to get all of those recipes, and then we will say, oh, it was a particularly easy recipe. In most other cases, you'll have the chance of those warnings appearing. They're random and always occur at the beginning of a new crafting round. You have 4 seconds, which is the round time. This is the first time they've mentioned round time. I'd like to go to the jeweler's workbench now and create a lead bracelet. Take time to watch out for warnings and counter them correctly. And don't forget you can use your abilities / arts to help out even when there's no warning showing. Alright, he says lead bracelet. Is it this one? I forget which workbench. Yeah. I think this is it. No, hang on. Oh, yeah, it's fashion lead bracelet. Perfect. Okay. I was like, there. We have the components, so we'll click begin. Same thing. 1, 2, 3. But now we're on the lookout for complications. Alright, that would be number 2. Counters that. It's green because they countered. If you don't counter, it's red. Number 3, I countered. Now I'm using durability only. I could also go over to progress and use the progress abilities like so. 4, 5, and 6. Like we just tapped all 3. And we're tapping all 3 again. Boom. We've created the lead bracelet and countered 1 complication along the way. The longer the recipe takes to craft, which these days, they go pretty quick, but more complications arise and more difficult recipes.
Good day to you.
All right, before we start, don't forget next book. Go ahead and scribe it. You have avoided a serious injury, and now you know the basics of crafting. And I hope you understand how to obtain the best quality results while avoiding injury. Now, why don't you try a few more recipes to learn about the 9 types of trade skills you can specialize in? And we say yes, please, because we want this green, juicy, these quests giving crafting XP. Well, let's see. You've made a candelabra using the carpenter's skills. Learned that carpenters can make items that can be placed in houses. Carpenters also make strong boxes for storage and sales containers for selling items to others. You've also made a bracelet. Jewelers make jewelry and also combat art upgrades for scouts. So he says, why don't we try our hand at provisioning and make some Jum Jum cider. Food and drink is important, by the way. it helps your character with power and health regen. It gives you stat bonuses at higher levels. So we need some Jum and some liquid. We've already remembered the recipe. We can go to the stove. Right? Is there a stove here? No, that's not a... Well, it actually is. Okay, it's a tiny little kitchen. It looks more like a lab. I was like, wait a minute. Jum cider. Alright, now I don't have liquid or basic kindling, so now it's teaching me to use the fuel merchant. So we would come over here, and she's going to sell things that are fuel. In this case, I'm going to buy one of these for now. And I'm going to buy a basic kindling. I got to find it here. Stove and keg. I think that's... I don't remember. It says kindling. Oh, sprinkling, killing. I'm gonna look something up here. There it is. For some reason I didn't see basic kindling on the list. I must be blind. Alright, so I have to be over here. Now notice that it's shows in red still, so you would cancel that and re-click Jum cider. Now it shows that I have the ingredients. So it doesn't auto-update as an FY. So we're going to start off with progress, blast through this here. Boom, boom, boom. I always go for progress unless my durability is taking a major hit. Like if my green got down to like 1/3 of the bar, I'd switch over. Otherwise, I just blow through as quickly as possible. Alright. We've made Jum ciders. We can turn those in.
Well met.
Mem that recipe. There it is. Talk damage says now let's look at weapons. Weapons can maybe be made by weaponsmiths and woodworkers. So wood weapons and metal weapons essentially. Weapon masters make all sorts of different things. You can also add procs to weapons, some basic procs, very simple stuff. Same thing with crafting armor. Okay, so we're gonna go woodworking table, which is what? Right here. Great staff. Well, let's see. Elm. Yeah, elm great staff. Elm great staff right there. I need basic sandpaper. So we're going to go back over to the fuel merchant. We're going to buy from her. We're going to buy a basic sandpaper. Now, once you decide what you're actually going to be crafting, you'll end up having to buy whole stacks of these fuels once you decide your specialization. So 4, 5, 6, we're going to power through. Switch over durability real quick. Oh, got a complication. Countered. Back over to progress. Alright. And then he said, well, I know we need a piece of coal because we have to go make an actual weapon. Buy a basic coal. Over to the forge. 10 hand axe. Boom. Boom. So it's letting you craft a little bit of everything as you get going in your early stages of playing the game to decide what you think you might want to craft. Now once I get through the tutorial, we'll talk about which specialization should I pick, and that is important, but not, game breaking if you don't pay attention. You can absolutely do whatever you want. There are benefits to certain classes.
Well met.
Alright, so there's the next recipe book. We're going to mim that. And now he talks about sages create spells and put them onto scrolls, which healers and mages can then use to memorize higher level abilities. So everything I have down here as an example is an adept. Hang on, they're not all adept. They're apprentice level. So every ability you get is always at apprentice level. Higher levels can be crafted by a crafter who has the appropriate skill line. So if I was a mage, these would be spells, and if I wanted upgrades of my spells, I would go to a sage, and they would craft those upgrades for me. Mine are made by a jeweler. Combat arts for scouts are made by jewelers. So sages are the ones who make the healers and mage things. So we'll go ahead and say yes. That's going to be... I don't remember what... Nope, that's the wrong table. He said shackle, right? Shackle. And there's usually so many spells, I actually use the search button. Yep, I need incense. That's what it was. Basic incense by 1. Create shackle. Also notice in the bottom left, I'm gaining skill points in various abilities because I'm trying out all the different crafting tables. If you get better in those, you'll have better success rates, better progress, better quality, better overall performance at a crafting table. Alright, created shackle. Back we go.
Hello.
Go ahead and mim that book. Okay. It says, now look at alchemists. They create poisons. Poisons are important for rangers. They can be important for rangers. They also do abilities for fighters. So he wants me to... Essence of Intercept. I'm at the wrong table. Hold up. Okay. Intercept. Basic candle. Here we go. So now we're doing chemistry, it says down in the bottom left. Ah, I missed the counter on that one. Oh! So I just took a huge hit to my progress and durability. We'll rebuild our durability. Counter successfully that time, please. Alright. Alright, finish that. Notice it said I just maxed out. It says you must speak to a crafty tutor, become level 10. You cannot gain any additional experience until you have chosen a profession. So is that... That's kind of jumping ahead, isn't it? So if I want to meta this, I would say we would need to pick our course right now. Let's ignore that. We're following the quest line. This may be wasted XP, I'm not sure. See, it's gonna tell me.
Well met.
It's all good, we get the books. I don't want to get ahead of it for the purposes of the tutorial, so it's not that big of a deal in the grand scope of things to waste a little bit of XP. For those of you who really want to, you know, you don't really care about the whole tutorial series, this would be a point. I would say there would be a divergent path here where you could just talk directly to the trainer, because once you hit level 9, you're ready to max out to get to level 10. They want you to pick, and so you would hail her and go through the whole, here's my name, quest line. and that gives you your primary profession. But we're not going to do that because that's out of order, and the purpose of this video is the complete walkthrough of the tutorial series. So we're
Well
going to do
met.
that. Tailors and armorers. Armorers focus on heavy plate and chain armor. Tailors specialize in lighter armor and leather armor. Tailors also make backpacks. Coat and backpack coming up. So we need 1 coal for sure. I think it's a filament for the leather. I could be wrong. Well, let's do the forge first. Look up the coat. Counter appropriately. We're earning metal shaping points now. Oh, we need to flip over to durability. Took a bit of a drop there. White bead. Heat depletion. Alright, and he said backpack. Ah, it was filament. Nice. I remembered correctly. You know, I say I just missed the clicking the right thing. I would say that if they ever decided to, I just misclicked again. I need to stop talking. Gotta pay attention. There we go. We're back on track. If they ever decided to pump up the tutorial, all they would have to do is take those dialogue pieces that they have and associate those with one of these windows to actually show people that process. And essentially the video I'm making right here, but they need to put that into a UI component. If they could do that, the crafting system in this game, this early crafting experience would be way more epic. So we actually just got a tunic, which gives us crafting skills so you can actually switch over. Why do we have that backpack that we made? We could put on our crafting shirt, which gives us crafting. He talks to us now about how level 9 you need to decide which crafting path you'll follow by speaking to the crafting tuner, which is the thing I was mentioning earlier. We were just a couple of quests ahead of that. Alright, so let's say thank you for that. Check with her actually. So see, she's got advanced volumes, which are more than just the ones we have. Anyway. She says, certify you for your chosen trade class. Before I can begin your paperwork, I need your name. Alright, so now we get professions. And this is where, you know, you have a variety of options here. So craftsmen become carpenters, provisioners, or woodworkers. Outfitters become armorers, tailors, or weaponsmiths. Scholars can become alchemists, jewelers, and sages. So let me just break that down again very quickly for everyone. Carpenters make cosmetic items for houses as well as containers. Provisioners make food and drink, which is to help with your regen, as well as stat food. Very important at the higher levels in particular, because their handcrafted food lasts much longer than store-bought and has way better stats. And then woodworkers make bows, arrows, totems, wooden weapons, and wooden shields. Armorers make plate and chainmail armor and heavy shields. Tailors make cloth and leather armor, as well as casual clothing and backpacks and hex dolls. And weaponsmiths make metal weapons. Scholars, the alchemist up front, makes spells and combat art upgrades, which are for fighters. Jewelers make jewelry. And then the combat outs for scouts. Sages, alchemists also make potions, by the way, and poisons. Forgot to have that listed in there. Sages make spells and things. So, yeah, that's the basic breakdown of the professions. So, you just need to choose what you think you're working on. I'm going to do a woodworking with this character because I want to make better bows for myself and arrows. So, I'm going to pick craftsman and click OK. Now, starting off, I'll just be a craftsman, but then I get it's my first of the specialties. So down in the bottom right, you'll notice I gained levels as a crafter, and I became a 10th level ranked artisan, which makes me a crafter now. Now, if I went to her and looked at the recipes I can get, first of all, we need some of these essentials. So I missed, make sure they didn't give it to us. Yeah, so we missed volume 8. Volume 9, and then Advanced Craftsman Volume 10, which is the level we just dinged. There's also Craftsman Essentials Volume 10. You don't need the advanced stuff at the moment. It's not really a big deal for beginner stuff. So we go into our inventory, make sure that we read these like so. I'm double clicking this time as opposed to right clicking. And now, if we open up the N button, we have recipes that go up from level 2 all the way to level 12. Now we are currently level 10 as a craftsman. Now to get to level 11, we need to go actually make things because we're out of the crafting tutorial. Now this is going to cost resources, which we harvest or buy from the market, and it's going to cost fuel. That fuel being dependent on the type of workstation you're going to be working with. Now, I'm going to be working with a workbench. One of these. This is what I deal with. So I'm going to want sandpaper for the recipes that I'm making. So the smart thing to do would be go to the fuel merchant and buy, you know, I don't know. It's only 48 silver, so I'm going to buy a whole stack of those. And then I'm going to go back over here. Now, before we get crafting and you're just doing general leveling, there's something that's very important to know. You get bonus XP the first time that you craft a brand new recipe. So anytime you get a ding, the first thing you should do is work your way through the most current, highest level recipes, because they're going to give you the most experience as you level up your character. Only go to like blue recipes if you absolutely have to, because you ran out of first time even con recipes to use. Now pay attention to the amount of experience you're earning, because as you get higher up in level, it will become more grindy, and you'll eventually get to the point where if you use this method, you may need to do a cost analysis between, you know, casting multiple versions of, say, Maple Club, because you only get the bonus XP the first time around, but then you get the same amount of XP for the second, third, fourth, fifth, and 10th. You know, so you can track that and compare that number against casting first time blues, and whenever the repeat of an even con outweighs that of casting a first time blue where you get an experience bonus, just go repeat the whites, you know, and just do the even cons. Anyway, so to level up here, there's that way. Now they have an adorning guy you could talk to. Are you enjoying your crafting career? Just fine, thanks. Okay. Now we can't. I don't think you can get the. Yeah, these are not available yet.
Hello.
So when we level up a bit more,
traveler.
you can get access to work orders and rush orders, and this is a whole other level of crafting, where you're earning status points, and if you're in a guild, you know, you'll earn faction to help level up the guild. In any case, that's for a little bit later. I think you have to ding to 20 to use those. I don't remember. All right, well, let's make the blessed ones require raw material, which I don't have. So we're gonna start off with this. Oh, it was glowing sandpaper. Oh wait, I don't have those. Oh, because those are T2 recipes. Da-da! So I can't do the even cons quite yet, because I need Well, they're just glowing sandpaper. Anyway, let's start with the elm bow staff. Now at the lower levels, it doesn't take a lot to go from level to level. Just watch the XP bar at the very bottom of the screen. It'll jump up a bit when we create this recipe for the first time. You also get rest XP, right, for being a subscriber, and that'll help go faster. Then we go back to the recipe book, do the next recipe down. And you just do this until you dig. Now we got about, what, a quarter of a level for doing one recipe, so it shouldn't take us more than a few combines to level up from 10. Now the best way to do this is to first focus on, if you want to, making items that you can use for your character before you worry about doing anything else. However, I'm so far leveled up because I'm like into my 20s. The items that I could make, if I was making level appropriate items, I need to have my crafting up into the tier 2 stuff to make level 20 plus items that are good for me. But that's an advanced topic, which we'll get to another day. So right now the objective is to level up, and if I can make upgrades for myself along the way, then I should totally do so. If I'm level appropriate, there will be some items that you can make that are better than what you're going to get from drops, and in some cases better than what you're going to get from quests. Especially if you get like the rare drops, the rare harvestables. That allows you to make the imbued stuff, which has stat bonuses, procs and stuff like that. So notice this is taking much longer to do than one of the other recipes. That's because this is an actual recipe, and it's actually going, hey, you're not very skilled, so we're gonna make you work for this one. Spirit totem of the beetle. One thing you have to remember is that you are wearing a piece of crafted gear, so when you go out to do adventuring, you're going to have to make sure to switch back to your adventuring breastplate. So I'm countering these with durability down, trying to bring that green bar back up. A bit of a fight here at the end. Durability dropping. By the way, you can also do like progress, durability, progress, durability. You can do any combination of 1 through 6 that you want in that round that you get. I used to be so confused by this crafting system when it first launched, but once I figured it out, it was like, oh, this is amazing. And it's one of the few systems where you don't get to like AFK it. Like you can't just, like World of Warcraft or Lord of the Rings Online, you can like select a number of items to craft, and you can just click a button and walk away. And as long as you've got the ingredients, I misclicked there. You'll craft that recipe even if you've gone to the bathroom or something, which is not bad. I don't mind that system. I'm just saying, every once in a while it's nice to do this. Something casual, or you're actually, having to think about it, pay a little bit of attention. It's good. Alright, I think we need to make one more and then we'll ding. Alright, there's a leveling craftsman. Now once that happens, the first thing you want to do, because remember you don't have a quest yet, is go over here and talk to the crafting trainer and go get your a level 11 craftsman essentials volume, which is going to give you all the recipes you need for that next level. Memorize that. Now you're ready to go back to the crafting station to rinse and repeat. And there you have it, everyone. A basic, simplified version of the beginner's guide to crafting EverQuest 2. It's actually somewhat complex. I mean, this video is going to end up being, 40 minutes long, maybe. I'm not quite sure. But this is just the beginning of your crafting journey. There are still the rush orders to talk about, rush orders and work orders, the leveling system, and a whole bunch more of other things around the crafting system. So there will be an advanced guide coming at some point down the road in the future. But in the meantime, this was the ultimate beginner's guide to get you started crafting in EverQuest 2 for the first time. If you did like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon, support in all the ways we've talked about throughout the video. And until next time, everyone, stay safe and happy gaming.